Eli walked slowly through the crowded market, carrying a small wooden box. His hands trembled a little, not because he was afraid but because he knew what people might say. The box was full of his homemade Christmas ornaments. Each one was different, some made from scraps of metal, others from glass and tiny lights he had carefully wired himself. They were far from perfect, but Eli had spent weeks making them. He had hoped that someone might see the effort, the care, the little sparks of imagination he had poured into them. The market was full of colors, noise and smells. Alien merchants called out to passers-by, advertising glowing decorations that floated in midair or ornaments shaped like miniature planets spinning slowly. Humans and aliens alike walked around in fine clothes, laughing and buying expensive gifts. Eli's small stall looked plain compared to the others. His ornaments did not float. They did not glow magically. They were simple, small and made by hand. As he set up his stall on the corner, some children came running by, pointing at the ornaments. "Ah, look at these. They look like old junk," one of them shouted. He laughed and ran off. Eli forced a small smile and looked down at the table. It was not the first time he had heard such words. People often thought his creations were worthless. But he liked making things by hand. He liked the quiet hours of shaping, bending, painting and wiring. It made him feel alive. Soon a group of adults stopped by. They were dressed in bright clothes that shimmered with alien technology. One of them picked up an ornament. "Is this supposed to be a star?" the woman asked, holding it up and frowning. "It looks broken. Who would want this?" She laughed loudly and the others joined in. Eli said nothing. He had learned that arguing did not help. He kept arranging his ornaments carefully, hoping that someone would see the beauty in them. He noticed that a few curious eyes glanced at his work, but they quickly looked away when the group of adults laughed. A young boy with messy hair came closer. He pointed at a small ornament shaped like a tiny tree made of wires. "This one looks fun," he whispered. His eyes shone with curiosity. Eli smiled softly. "It is fun," he said quietly. "I made it myself." The boy's smile grew. "Can I touch it?" he asked. Eli nodded. The boy carefully picked it up, turning it around in his hands. For a moment, the laughter and noise of the market faded. It was as if the boy saw something real, something honest, in the little ornament. But then his mother called him away. "Come on. Don't touch strange things," she said, pulling him toward the bigger stalls. Eli watched him go, wishing he could show the world what he saw in that small moment. Hours passed. More people stopped by, but most only glanced quickly, laughed, and moved on. Eli's stomach ached from hunger, and his back hurt from standing all day, but he did not give up. He adjusted the ornaments, making sure each one caught the light. Some reflected the sun in soft, colorful glows. Some jingled faintly when the wind passed. He thought that maybe, just maybe, someone would notice the little magic in his hands. A shadow fell across his stall. Eli looked up and saw a tall figure dressed in elegant robes. The crowd seemed to quiet slightly around them. The figure was different from the others. Their movements were calm, almost careful, and their eyes were bright with curiosity. Eli did not know it yet, but this was the Dragon Princess, a noble alien who had come to see the festival with no intention of buying anything, only to observe the life of the city and its people. The princess stopped in front of Eli's stall. Unlike the others, they did not laugh or mock. They looked at the ornaments one by one, tilting their head, examining each carefully. Their gaze lingered on a small ornament made of twisted metal wires shaped into a tiny star. Eli held his breath. The princess's expression was unreadable, but something in the way they looked at the ornament made Eli feel hope for the first time all day. A merchant nearby whispered, "Why is the princess looking at that? It's worthless. She should look at something real." Others nodded, smirking. But Eli ignored them. He could not stop looking at the princess, whose eyes seemed to shine like starlight. They picked up the little wire star and turned it gently in their hands. It did not glow. It did not float. But it was real, and for a moment, Eli felt a warmth in his chest that he had not felt in years. The laughter of the market continued around him, but it no longer mattered. Eli's small, imperfect ornaments had finally caught the attention of someone who mattered. And though he did not know it yet, this small moment would change everything. The Dragon Princess held the small wire star in her hands, turning it carefully. She did not speak at first. Her large, shining eyes followed every curve, every twist of metal. Around her, the market buzzed with voices, laughter, and the soft hum of alien machines. But Eli felt as if the noise had disappeared. Everything faded except for the princess and the small ornament in her hands. "You made this?" the princess asked quietly. Her voice was soft, almost musical, and it made Eli startle. He nodded, unable to find words. "Yes, I made it myself," he said. "It is just a little ornament." The princess smiled faintly. "It is not just a little ornament. It has care. It has thought. It has heart." Eli blinked, unsure what to say. No one had ever described his work like that. Most people only laughed, called it useless, or ignored it. To hear someone, especially someone so important, praise it made him feel as if he were standing in sunlight after years of darkness. Nearby merchants and shoppers noticed the princess standing at his stall. A few whispered, pointing fingers. "Why is royalty looking at this human's junk?" one man muttered. Another laughed loudly. "It must be a trick. She would never choose something so cheap." Eli ignored them. He did not care about their words. For the first time he felt hope. The princess examined another ornament. This one was made from small pieces of glass tied together with thread. Light passed through it and scattered in tiny rainbows. Eli had made it after carefully collecting broken glass from old buildings. It was delicate, fragile, and beautiful to him. The princess held it up against the sun, tilting it slowly. Light flickered across her scales, and for a moment, it seemed as if the whole market shone with colors. "You have skill," she said. "But more than skill, you have patience. Most people rush. They use machines or magic to make things perfect. You put yourself into each piece. That is rare." Eli's chest swelled with pride, but he kept his head low. "Thank you," he said softly. He had always hoped someone would see the effort behind his work, but never in his wildest dreams did he imagine that a princess, an alien royal, would notice him. A small crowd had gathered, watching silently. The whispers grew louder. "She is wasting her time. Why is she looking at those human scraps?" But none of the words reached Eli. He focused only on the princess, who was still holding the wire star. "Do you have more?" she asked. Her large hands reached gently for the other ornaments. Eli opened his box carefully, showing her all of them. Each ornament was different. A tiny tree made from wires and beads, a snowflake carved from old metal plates, a miniature comet painted on glass. The princess picked them up one by one, looking closely, nodding slightly, as if she understood something that no one else could see. Then she paused. Her eyes returned to the wire star. She held it close, and for a moment the market seemed to stop. Eli could feel a warmth spreading through him. It was not just pride. It was recognition. For the first time his small, quiet work mattered. A merchant near the edge of the crowd shook his head. "She should not be doing that. This is a human, and humans make junk." Another laughed. "Maybe she is testing it for strength, ha." Eli could hear the laughter, but it no longer hurt. He realized something important. Not everyone would understand, but someone who truly saw his work did. That was enough. The princess smiled at Eli. "I want to wear one of your ornaments," she said simply. The crowd gasped. Many could not believe their ears. A dragon princess, known for her elegance and power, had said she would wear something made by a human, by a simple creator. Eli froze. He could not imagine such a thing. You would wear it?" he asked, voice trembling. "Yes," she said. "I see your work. I see the care. It is more than decoration. It is a story. And stories are precious." She held the wire star out to him. "Which one should I wear?" Eli looked at the ornaments, feeling a strange mixture of disbelief and joy. He never thought he could choose for a princess. He picked a small ornament he had made from silver wire and a tiny crystal. "This one," he whispered. "It is simple, but it is made with care." The princess nodded and gently attached it to her robes. The crystal caught the light and reflected it across her scales. For a moment, she seemed to glow even brighter than her usual radiance. The crowd went silent. Many stared, mouths open, unable to believe what they were seeing. The laughter that had mocked Eli's work faded into whispers of awe and curiosity. Eli felt his heart pounding. The princess looked at him, her expression calm, but her eyes full of admiration. "You have a gift," she said. "Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Keep making, keep creating, and share it with the world." For the first time Eli smiled freely. He no longer cared about mockery, judgment, or scorn. Someone important had seen the value in his work, and that was enough. The dragon princess had arrived not just at his stall, but at the very heart of his dreams. And in that moment Eli understood something powerful. True recognition does not come from wealth, fame, or magic. It comes from those who see with their hearts. The market felt different now. People whispered and stared, unsure how to react. The dragon princess had chosen one of Eli's ornaments, and the simple human who had been mocked all day suddenly stood at the center of attention. Eli's hands shook slightly as he adjusted the ornaments in the box, feeling a strange mixture of pride and fear. He had never been in the spotlight before and he was not sure how to act. The princess held the silver wire ornament with a tiny crystal between her long, delicate fingers. She studied it closely, turning it so the light hit the crystal just right. Eli watched silently, afraid to breathe too loudly. The crowd pressed closer, curious to see what would happen. A loud voice broke the silence. "Why this one?" a merchant shouted. "It is worthless. Look at the others. They are fine, strong, expensive. This human's work is simple." Some of the crowd laughed and a few snickered behind their hands. Eli felt a flicker of old shame, the same shame he had carried for years. He wanted to shrink back, hide in a corner and leave. But the princess's eyes met his, steady and calm. There was no judgment, only curiosity and respect. The princess smiled faintly. "I choose this one," she said clearly, her voice calm and commanding. "It is the one I wish to wear." The crowd gasped. Murmurs spread like wildfire. "She is wearing that?" one woman whispered. "That human's ornament?" Another man laughed nervously. "Maybe it has magic we don't see." Eli could not believe it. His small, handmade ornament, something made from scraps and wires, something everyone else had laughed at, was now chosen by royalty. He felt his chest tighten, a warm, heavy feeling he had never experienced before. It was not pride alone. It was recognition. Someone powerful, someone wise, someone who could see beyond wealth and beauty had seen him. The princess moved closer to Eli. "Place it here," she said gently, pointing to the chain on her robe where she wanted the ornament attached. Eli's hands trembled as he reached out. His fingers brushed the princess's robes, soft and cool against his skin. He carefully attached the ornament, making sure it hung straight and secure. When he stepped back, the princess looked at the ornament. She nodded slowly. "Perfect," she said. The crystal sparkled, catching the light and reflecting tiny stars onto her scales. For a moment, the market felt silent, as if the world itself had paused to witness this small but important act. The crowd stared in awe. Many could not believe their eyes. The human they had mocked all day had created something worthy of a dragon princess. Some faces fell in shame for having laughed. Others whispered excitedly, pointing at Eli's other ornaments. "Maybe he is better than we thought. Look at the care in that work." Slowly, the laughter turned into curiosity, then admiration. Eli stood frozen, watching the princess. She had worn his work. She had seen its value. It was a quiet victory, but one more powerful than he could have imagined. He had spent years making small things, thinking they were insignificant. But now, someone important had noticed. And that recognition meant more than he could ever put into words. The princess leaned closer and said softly, "Do not let anyone tell you your work is worthless. True value is not in wealth or perfection. It is in heart, in thought, in care. That is what makes this special." Eli felt a lump in his throat. He wanted to thank her, to explain how much it meant, but the words stuck in his mouth. Instead, he bowed slightly and whispered, "Thank you, Your Highness." Around them, the crowd began to change. People who had mocked him now looked with respect. Children stared wide-eyed at the ornaments, some reaching out carefully to touch them. The boy from earlier, the one who had first admired the small wire tree, watched in awe. Eli smiled faintly at him. It felt good to know that even one small person had seen the magic. Merchants who had been cruel now tried to approach the stall, offering compliments or trying to learn his secret. Eli ignored most of them. He did not need approval from everyone. The princess's choice was enough. He had learned that true recognition did not come from the crowd, but from those who could truly see. The dragon princess turned slightly, showing the ornament to the market. "Look," she said calmly, but her voice carried to the entire square. "This was made by a human. It is simple, yes, but it has care. It has thought. It has heart. Value comes from those who put their soul into creation." The crowd fell silent. Many could not argue. Some nodded slowly. A few whispered apologies. Eli felt a warm, steady glow in his chest. This was more than a victory for him. It was a lesson for everyone. Simple, honest work could shine brighter than wealth or showy power. As the princess walked away, Eli watched her. The ornaments sparkled on her robes, tiny stars dancing in the sunlight. He realized something important. This moment would stay with him forever. He had created something meaningful. Someone important had recognized it. And maybe, just maybe, his life, and the lives of others like him, would never be the same. For the first time, Eli believed that even small hands, working quietly in a corner, could change the world. After the dragon princess left the stall wearing Eli's ornament, the market felt different. The laughter and mockery that had filled the air all morning were gone. People walked more slowly now, glancing at Eli's ornaments with curiosity and even a little respect. Some whispered to each other, pointing quietly, while children gathered near the table, wide-eyed and excited. Eli could hardly believe it. His hands shook slightly as he arranged the ornaments. For the first time he felt proud of what he had made. Each tiny wire tree, each crystal snowflake, each little star seemed to glow more brightly, as if the princess's attention had given them life. The crowd's change in mood made him realize that value was not just in wealth or complexity, it was in thought, care, and heart. A few merchants approached cautiously. "Your ornaments, they are different," one said, lowering his voice. "We never noticed it before." Eli nodded politely. He did not need approval from everyone. But it was strange to see people who had mocked him all day now speaking gently, almost reverently. Children ran to his stall, eager to see the ornaments. Eli showed them carefully, letting them touch the smooth crystals or hold the small wire trees. "You see," he said, smiling, "you don't need magic or machines to make something beautiful. You just need care and patience." The children nodded eagerly, their eyes shining with wonder. Some whispered to their parents that they wanted to try making their own ornaments just like Eli. Word spread quickly through the market. Soon, other humans and aliens who had not seen the princess noticed the small display. They came closer, curious why royalty had chosen a simple ornament. Slowly, admiration replaced doubt. People began asking questions. "How did you make this? Can we learn too? Where do you get your ideas?" Eli answered each question carefully, showing them the basics of his work. He wanted everyone to understand that even small hands could create something meaningful. The dragon princess did not return immediately, but Eli felt her presence in spirit. The crowd whispered about how she had chosen his ornament, how she had praised his work for care and thought. Some even said it was a lesson to the entire city, that true value is not always in flashy displays, wealth, or magic, but in the effort and love put into creation. By afternoon, the market had changed completely. People lined up at Eli's stall not to mock but to learn. A few merchants offered him small gifts, tools, wires, scraps of metal, to encourage his work. Eli accepted them politely but remained humble. He wanted to share, not to profit. He set up a small demonstration showing children how to twist wires, shape tiny crystals, and create ornaments from simple materials. Laughter returned to the market, but this time it was happy and light, full of curiosity and excitement, not ridicule. The boy from earlier, the one who had first admired the wire tree, came running back. "I want to try making one," he shouted, holding a small piece of wire. Eli knelt down, smiling warmly. "Here, I'll show you," he said. Together they twisted and shaped, laughed and struggled, until a tiny ornament took form. The boy looked at it proudly. "I made this," he exclaimed. Eli nodded. "Yes, and it's wonderful. You see? Anyone can create beauty if they care." Some adults watched quietly. A few even attempted ornaments themselves, laughing as they bent wires and painted tiny stars. The market became a place of learning and sharing rather than mocking. Eli realized that his small act had started something bigger. People were not just appreciating his ornaments, they were learning the value of patience, creativity, and heart. Late in the afternoon, the dragon princess returned quietly, moving through the crowd with her usual calm elegance. She wore the silver wire ornament, the tiny crystal sparkling in the sunlight. When she reached Eli, she nodded. "The city has seen what I saw," she said. "Your work has reminded them of something important. You have done more than make ornaments. You have inspired others." Eli felt warmth in his chest. "I just make what I enjoy," he said softly. "I never thought it could matter to anyone else." "You have shown them that small, honest work is powerful," the princess replied. "Do not underestimate the impact of simple acts. Even one creation can change the way people think, if it is made with care and heart." As the festival came to an end, Eli packed his ornaments carefully. People lingered, asking for advice, asking for small lessons. The market had transformed not because of wealth or magic, but because a human had created something with patience and love, and the dragon princess had seen it. Eli walked home slowly, feeling lighter than he had in years. The streets were still busy, filled with aliens and humans hurrying to their homes, but he felt as if the world had grown brighter. For the first time, he believed that even a quiet, humble human could make a difference. He had learned that recognition is rare, but its effect can be wide, inspiring change in others. That night, Eli placed a small lantern in his window, thinking of the princess and the children who had learned from him. The light flickered softly, a simple glow in the vast city. But to Eli, it shone like a star. He knew that his journey was only beginning, and that small, careful work could leave a mark on the world, one ornament at a time. The weeks after the festival passed quickly, but Eli's life had changed forever. His small stall in the market had grown into a place where humans and aliens alike came to learn, watch, and create. Word of the Dragon Princess's choice spread across the city, and soon everyone knew the story. A humble human had made an ornament so special that royalty had chosen it to wear. Eli woke each morning with a quiet excitement. He no longer felt nervous when people approached his table. Instead, he welcomed them with a warm smile, ready to share his ideas, his materials, and his stories. Children came first, eager to try making ornaments themselves. Eli guided them patiently, showing them how to twist wire, attach tiny crystals, or shape scraps into little stars. He watched their eyes light up when their creations worked, when they realized that their hands could make something real and beautiful. Adults came too. Some wanted to learn, others wanted to observe, and a few just came to say they had been wrong to mock him before. Eli did not hold grudges. He knew that mockery was easy and understanding was rare. What mattered was that people were now learning, noticing the value in small, careful work, and beginning to appreciate the thought behind creation. One crisp morning, the Dragon Princess arrived at the stall again. Eli froze for a moment, bowing respectfully. She smiled softly, wearing the silver wire ornament once more. The crystals sparkled in the sunlight, casting tiny reflections across her scales. Eli felt a warm rush of pride and happiness. "You have done well," she said quietly. "Not only have you created beautiful work, but you have taught others to see value in effort and care. That is a gift even greater than any ornament." Eli shook his head humbly. "I only make what I love," he said. "I never imagined it could inspire others." "You have done more than imagine," the princess replied. "You have proven that small, honest acts can have big consequences. You have reminded everyone in this city that greatness does not always come from wealth, machines, or power. It can come from patience, heart, and thought." The princess walked slowly among the children, who were busy shaping wire and crystals into tiny ornaments. They glanced up at her with wide eyes, whispers of excitement spreading through the group. "This is amazing," one child said. "I want to make more." The princess smiled and nodded, her gaze returning to Eli. "Do you know," she said softly, "that your work will be remembered for years to come? People will tell this story to others and it will grow. It is rare for one person's care to change so many hearts. You have done something extraordinary." Eli's chest swelled with a quiet joy. He realized that he had never been extraordinary in the way the world usually measured it. He had no wealth, no powerful position, no advanced machines, but he had something else. He had creativity, patience, and heart. And that was enough to make a difference. Over time, more people began to make ornaments like Eli's. Children created small gifts for friends, families, and even strangers. Adults joined in, learning to enjoy the process rather than just the results. The market transformed, slowly but surely, into a place of creation, learning, and kindness. And through it all, Eli remained humble, always showing care for each piece he made and each person he taught. One evening, as the sun set and the city lights began to glow, Eli walked home with a small lantern in his hand. The streets were alive with music, laughter, and conversation. Families displayed ornaments they had made, some inspired by Eli's work. He paused for a moment, looking up at the sky, thinking of the Dragon Princess. The princess had returned to her palace, far away, but her choice had left a lasting mark. Eli felt a quiet satisfaction knowing that even small acts of care and creativity could inspire others. He thought of all the children who had learned from him, all the people who had discovered that effort and heart mattered more than wealth or showiness. And he knew that this was only the beginning. That night, Eli placed his own small ornaments carefully in a box, preparing for the next day. Each piece was made with care, each one a story, a tiny spark of imagination. He knew that no matter how simple his work seemed, it could touch hearts, change minds, and even inspire royalty. And that knowledge filled him with hope, pride, and joy. From that day forward, Eli continued to create, teach, and inspire. His humble ornaments were no longer just decorations. They were symbols of patience, heart, and the quiet power of humanity. And somewhere far away, the Dragon Princess wore the silver wire ornament, reminding the city that even the smallest, simplest creations can shine brighter than anything else, if they are made with love. Eli's story spread beyond the city. Humans and aliens told it to each other, passing it along for generations. They remembered a quiet human who dared to create, who kept faith in his small gifts, and who taught the world that true value is not in grandeur but in heart. And in every home where a handmade ornament hung, his message lived on, that anyone, no matter how humble, could make a difference.